here. All right, because we are absolutely in the abundance hour holding space for Alana. So the discussion about books that we're reading is frequently the conversation we have. And one of the ones I was just listening to was A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And Kelly, you've definitely read it. So you wanted to give a little synopsis of why people might want to pick it up and listen to this one.
I feel like, so Happy Pocket Full of Money is a more modern version, I think, of the energy practices that are what is successful about Think and Grow Rich. So Think and Grow Rich has a lot of really great principles, and it's like the mastermind principle and some of that are unique to that, but the energy part of how you can stay in that abundance mindset and really kind of answering some of the questions of like, well, my reality is I'm not abundant. So how do I, master my mindset around that when I'm trying to change my thoughts to change my outcome? So I really feel like this book's much better at that part. He also speaks to a little bit of the time piece. So if you've heard a bit about Einstein time and some of the time pieces that are in Think and Grow Rich, it's addressed a bit in this book too. And I love it so much. I've probably been studying it for 4 years now, and you can just open it, read a page and get wisdom out of it. So I've actually started a little art journal, and I have this copy just to pull a page out, and then I highlight what's important to me and make little icons out of it. Cause there's like nuggets all throughout this book. It's so good. So I could not recommend it more. If you're interested in the energy of money and abundance mindset.
Nice. So this might be a difficult question then, is between the Think and Grow Rich and the Pocket Full, like which one would you start with? Do you know what I mean?
Probably do. I really think they both how's that? But maybe do the 10 minutes of Think and Grow Rich, because then this is much more digestible, because that's a year-long study to read the full book of this too, like to really be able to implement things. So using this little pocket guide, if you will, and then I would go into this. But this doesn't have to be one of those books that you just sit down and you read for the next month. It is one that you can like digest bit by bit. Like it's something you have to read all the way through beginning to end, in my opinion. Like you'll get something out of all of it. But the first time I read it end to end. And he even says this in the book, and you don't even get all of it. And then you go back through it and you're like, okay, I get that now. Like you almost live parts of it, and then you have to go back, and then it all makes more sense. And yeah, clearly one of my favorite topics, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I was going to say, he definitely recommends, just listen and pay attention. Like, don't take notes, don't try and highlight, don't try and understand it completely the first time through, like absorb it the first time through. And then he says to go back and sit down and then start, connecting it. So that was a big thing for me, because that's what I found works actually really well for me to understand what I'm reading. That's why I got the audio of this, because so it even says on it, your quantum leap into the understanding, having, and enjoying of immense wealth and happiness. Immense wealth and happiness. And so if like the quantum world is something that you're dipping into, like my mind is, I'm in it, and my mind is blown about the time. Like that's all new stuff for me. I'm like, don't take notes, Becky. Like just listen, just absorb it and go through the process. So I'm really, like I said, I'm practicing putting this in the nooks and crannies of my day just to get through it, because there's so much I want to dive into that I'm restraining myself and just letting the words speak to me, and then moving from there. So I agree though. I would say Think and Grow Rich in 10 minutes a day is a really great option, because it's very actionable. Like it's broke down and rolled those principles to really help you build success. Not to mention the fact that we have a book group to help mastermind through the things. So you'll understand deeper with joining the mastermind group to support you along the way. Whereas I feel like you definitely need to mastermind about this one too, just to kind of keep going. But it could really be a great self-study, and then bringing conversations to groups as well. So I like that you said that, Kelly, like start with maybe the Think and Grow Rich in 10 minutes a day, because I read the whole book and that is a beast, the Think and Grow Rich, big version. So starting with the 10 minutes a day and then digesting what's in there for you and then moving into a happy pocket full of money would be what I would suggest as well.
Yeah. Well, I love having books too, where you read them in a certain season and then you come back to them. And that was a suggestion with a different book that a friend had suggested of like, oh, now I would go back and reread that, because again, there's just so much. Which are good.
And we're in different places.
Other books I'll have on my bookshelf, and then Tyler will have to build me a bigger bookshelf, and it will just keep going.
Yeah, there you go. No, I think and that's so true, because we are in different places, right? Like as we're growing as business women, as people, you know, we are in different places, which gives us a different perspective of what we're learning in the books that we are taking the time to read. So absolutely coming back to them. And I love that Kelly said she, you know, digests like a page and just like dives into it, because that's what you hear about. That's what I hear about Think and Grow Rich. You know, it's always a continuous study and you can keep peeling back the layers. So I love that these books are really synonymous in understanding that concept and principles too. So, okay. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kelly, and Aaron for asking the question. I think that's a really great awareness that we can always get recommendations, but if this is something specifically that you're looking at, energy of money, that's an awesome way to get started in there.